$1,000. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last. Valid through 6/25. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Shop Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and reclaim your restless nights. Choose from a curated premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade you're looking for. Get matched, sleep at night.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now. And away we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Another edition of the Daily Ticket coming your way. It is hot as can be outside. Yes, I know everybody's starting their show off by saying exactly that. I don't care. It's hot. I'm cranky. I'm sweaty. And there's a big difference between you and I when it's hot outside. I'm bald. I don't have the mop on top. That, like, you know, when you sweat out there, you sweat the glands, and all of a sudden it soaks your mop. That keeps you guys and gals cool. Me, none of it. Rolls right down the back. Need 3 shirts just to get right from my house to the damn studio just to do a show. But I ain't complaining, because I would rather this weather over snow and the cold and the rain that we have had. And of course, it's going to rain again this week. And God bless. Anyways, nobody wants to hear me BNC for 3 hours here today. That's for damn sure. Shout out Nikki, cousin Nikki, checking in. He's been banging the timeline with a lot of content for us. Plenty to discuss in the Philadelphia/national sports world. And the great one, Colby Marcio, checking in. Yes, as Cal Raleigh did it again last night. Are you absolutely goodbye? Are you bleeping me? Yeah, he's just on fire. It's insane what he's doing right now. I think he's on pace for 67 bombs before the All-Star game, and I believe 67 for the season, 40 before the All-Star game. Anyways, calling Sean Great on his own show. We need this. Yeah, you know. Colby, great to have you, my friend. Always a fan of everything you're putting out there. Stay hot, as they say. All right, Mark Cuban Jr. is going to join me from the jump. Now, here's the deal. We do have a big-time baseball game going on in Houston, and I'm talking about we have potentially a World Series preview. I mean, it happened a couple years ago, and it's a Southpaw showdown. Framber Valdez and Ranger Suarez. Let's fire up DraftKings from the jump, and we'll take a peek at some of the numbers here. Minus 157 for the Astros at home, plus 129. Full disclosure, had to do some digging on the Stros. You know, Mark, who's going to be joining me in just a second, he's probably chasing his dog around, probably doing something like that. So I remember in the offseason when Alex Bregman ended up at he was moved off of the Astros. And of course, this is before he signs with the Sox. And I remember doing a show with Mark, and I said, well, damn, I feel like the Astros are going to finally take a step backwards. Like it's going to get ugly for them this year. Don't you think? And Mark was like, nope, don't think that at all. In fact, here we are now, June 24th, and I got my hand in the air. I guess I shouldn't be, because it is a hell of a franchise. They know what they're doing down there in Houston, putting all that nonsense, banging the garbage cans to the side. They did cheat for a couple years, whatever. Who cares? You got to go up there and hit the baseball. They did. I mean, it helps when you know it's a curveball, right? I digress. The Astros, though, are top in the West right here, right now. I looked at the ERA as far as WHIP is concerned. They're top 5. Strikeouts #1 as far as pitching rotation is concerned. The bats have been delivering. Mark Henry Jr. joining me right here from the jump. Mark, how surprised? I mean, I'm not shocked, but I am surprised that the Stros are currently in first and are dominant and are a team that could potentially be representing the West in the the American League in the World Series. But man, here we are on June the 24th. What is your outlook right now for the Astros?
It comes back to what I think I was probably saying around that time. The AL stinks. This American League, I've never seen a bigger gap in any sport from conference to conference as there is this year in the NL to the AL. I feel confident. NFC to the AFC. I think football's usually too close. That I don't think there's ever been a time where there's an NFC or an AFC. I know the last couple of years we've had Mahomes and Burrow and Allen and Lamar duking it out, but those Niners teams that made the Super Bowl were really good. The Eagles almost won a couple of years ago. They obviously just won this year. Maybe there's been sometimes the NBA's been close, but you look at the NL, I think you could argue that I think the Phillies, Mets, Cubs, and Dodgers are all better than any team in the American League. And I think Houston's right with Detroit, right with the Yanks. Yeah. For the top of that American League, whoever you want to argue is the best team out of that AL. And it doesn't surprise me at all. And part of it, nobody's a bigger Kyle Tucker guy than me. I think he's a top 5 player in the sport. And I think everybody, you just mentioned it, when they lost him, people figured, here's kind of where the run stops. But the thing about that was last year, he missed the second half or a large part of the second half of the year. And that's when they made their surge last year to get back into the mix. And I forget if they won that. I think they won the division last year as well. I know they were in the playoffs, but that was how that they surged to get there without Kyle Tucker. And when that happened, I kind of threw my hands up and said, this team's going to figure out a way no matter what. And they have Paredes, who has been a guy for a long time. People have been high on. They traded a lot to get him. I was never a big fan of him. He's popped, and he's been fantastic there. Jeremy Pena's hitting .326 there. He's been fantastic. He's been up and down in his career. He killed us in the World Series, obviously, and has kind of been up and down since then. He's been fantastic. Hunter Brown has been one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Who's that? Brown. Sorry, that's Tribe question.
We all know about Framber. We all know what Framber does. He's been around for
dominant. His last 8 starts.
And then you just need some depth from the other guys in that rotation. They have a great bullpen. Hader's been awesome. Abreu's been awesome. They've got dudes all over in terms of arms. So I'd expect them to be aggressive at the deadline.
Well, how about this? You bring up the American League, just a fun conversation to get the party started here today. And for my money, the 2 biggest disappointments in Major League Baseball this year just played last night between the Orioles and the Rangers, both American League games. I thought the Rangers were going to be a hell of a lot better than what they are currently. Could they turn it around? Plenty of baseball. Orioles are a lost cause. They are cooked. That's a bad franchise from top. From, of course, the ownership all the way to the front office with the decisions that they've made. And then, of course, where they're at right here, right now. So let me ask you this. One quick one as far as tonight's game. And we will revisit this game coming up here at about 3:35. We'll get back into the Phillies conversation. The right team favorite in your mind at -157 for the Stros versus Ranger and the Phils?
Yeah, Rangers got some pretty bad BVP numbers against Houston. I'm staying away from that one tonight. I do understand, though, if you're out there and you see a plus money sign with the Phils and you think worth taking it. Framber's been so good, though. And they struggle against left-handed pitching at times. So staying away from that one, expecting probably a loss tonight.
Ooh, all right. Well, it starts at 8:10, first pitch, and looking forward to catching it. I'm actually going to the movies tonight, Mark Henry Jr.
What are you seeing?
An advanced screening of F1.
Oh, I'm excited for F1.
Yeah, same. It's an iHeart deal. We get, the email sent around. I said, yeah, I'll go check that out. The only issue is, though, you want to talk about a kick in the pills. I said, yeah, I'd take it. And this is me complaining more. It's all the way out in Bensalem.
Oh, that's where I'm from. It's probably in the Chamonix, right?
Correct. And, yeah, they serve booze there. They got beers in that movie theater.
I think so. I haven't been there in a long time. I think there's a McGuffin's in there. There's usually an AMC bar called MacGuffins nowadays.
Is that a movie theater bar chain?
At AMC, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Are we on Movie Corner right now? We talking movies?
We're almost there, man. Let me tell you, on my ride in today, it might have been better for them just the sports channels to play music. I heard one host on a national syndicated radio station. He was filling in for the full-time host going, yeah, it's kind of a adult time of the sports calendar right now. And then he started reading quotes about Cooper Flagg and LeBron James. And I was just cracking up because he had absolutely nothing. And before that, he asked the question, which I am going to get into a little bit from the NBA draft, but we'll discuss that coming up here in just a second. All right, let's keep it moving. We got Mark Henry Jr. And speaking of the NBA draft, let's do it. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it is here tomorrow night.
Whoa, Wojbomb or Hainsbaum just dropped.
Uh-oh.
Pelicans are trading CJ McCollum to the Washington Wizards. No info yet on for what. I imagine that's a salary dump.
Okay. And what, the Wizards are the 6th?
Yeah, there's no way 6. I guess the Pelicans are at 7. Maybe there's a swap-a-roosty there, something like that. But I imagine this is maybe the Wizards trying to get somewhat competent players. So they're trading. Shams just said CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the number 40 pick. So that's a bad contract for a bad contract there.
Yeah. Good on the Wizards for cleaning house. Good on them. That was a disaster. And I know the Pelicans, well, they were bit by the injury bug from the start of that season. But bottom line is Wizards need to just, you know what? Go. Put all your eggs into the Ace Bailey basket.
I think I hate that for the Pelicans.
All right. I got a question for you. So when it comes to the NBA draft, why did you just say Shams instead of Woj? Was that just a reaction? You saw a big trade and you were like, yo, Woj bomb.
Woj is my guy. I'll always say Woj bomb.
All right. So in the NFL, when it's NFL draft time, I don't have to, you literally log on and there is a mock draft on your timeline, right? You walk down the street and somebody dropped a printout of a mock draft. There are 1,000,001 NFL mock draft gurus. Why, when it comes to the NBA, there's like 3?
The NBA draft has always been something I felt like has been really poorly covered. I've always felt like my whole life I've been like searching for podcasts like the week before. They're always I'm usually at the beach around this time. I just got back from the beach, as you can tell by my sunburn. But I'm usually looking for, like, I usually search NBA draft podcast, YouTube or podcast app. And I feel like I'm listening to guys who are totally guessing sometimes. I will say nobody's doing it better than Trilbo Dude and the Ball stuff. They cover the NBA draft front to back. Oh, they're insane the way that they cover the draft.
Trill in a college hoops guy? I didn't really think he was. I thought he was just a slop NBA full throttle. Or does he have people to help him?
Yeah, he has people that definitely help him, but he dives in like heavy, especially years where the Sixers have a high pick.
Gotcha.
I'd say he dives in really heavy, but he's dove in years past. He was really in on Maxey in 2020. I remember we were both banging the Maxey drum. So yeah, they do great work over there. They just had a couple draft experts from No Ceilings on. No Ceilings, a good NBA draft pod as well. They do some great work over on Twitter as well. Gavoni's the GOAT, though, I'd say.
Yeah, and he's making a huge name for himself. He's really all over the scene right now. He's
the man. Gavoni's great.
Yeah, he's top 3. Draft Express, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, Mark Henry Jr. joining us, and he is a draft aficionado when it comes to the NFL, loves the 76ers, all over this NBA draft. So a great question for Mark here on the jump, and I can't wait. Mark, if tomorrow night the Philadelphia 76ers, all of a sudden, look, you know what? Let me go ahead and let me set the stage here. You ready? All of a sudden. And with the 3rd pick of the 2025 NBA draft, the 76ers. We got a trade. I open up the envelope. It looks like they just traded with the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah.
They have traded down. What is your reaction if they trade out of the 3 spot? Like, I get it. Well, who did they get? What? No. It's the 3. They are in the overall 3rd spot. We are coming off a disaster of a season, one that I couldn't even watch. It was that painful. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. And now you're telling me that they're not going to draft somebody in the 3 spot. What will be your take? Because more and more, again, one man's just guess here, that you're seeing all this rumors, and this is rumor season, this is smoke season, but it does feel like, man, you know what? Anything is possible right now. And I don't know if that's a screw up by the 76ers. If they do trade back again, it all matters who they end up getting, what they got in return, so on and so forth. But man, like, you know, let's just be Bobby from the shipyard here, a caveman style. Wait a minute. You're just coming off of that season and now you're trading back from the 3 spot? That can't be good. What's your reaction if that's the case?
It's a tough balancing act for me. I have made it clear I'm an Ace Bailey guy. Let's just put that aside from the conversation at this point, because with him not working out, everybody's like, oh, they're still going to draft Ace Bailey, the Sixers, it's going to be a mess. And Kyle Pagan's asking Governor Shapiro, and you got all that stuff going on with Ace Bailey. I don't even think it's worth talking about, because the whole root of it is we don't want him. So it's like he would have worked out here if we promised him and if we were going to take him at the 3rd pick. I don't know what would happen in between him saying no to working out here and the draft for us to draft him at 3. Maybe you trade down and pick him. I don't know. But I'm, for all purposes of this conversation, drafting Ace Bailey is not an option for this organization.
I agree.
Put it like that. I think it's probably not an option. Even if they wanted it to be, or if they don't want it to be. But I think the reason it's not an option is because they don't want it to be. So
it's such a shame for Ace. Like, what are you doing, dude? Nobody plays nobody plays their entire NBA career with one team. You go in, make a name for yourself. I get the second contract. That's what's the most important deal. Sam had a good breakdown yesterday. I want to say it was with me, but come on, dude, you're a rookie. Get into the league and make a name for yourself.
Yeah,
regardless of where you're at.
He's getting horrible representation. Sharif Cooper's dad should be in prison, but that's another conversation. But taking Ace out of it, where we're at then is I don't want to trade up for Harper. I'm not as high on Harper as the general consensus. I actually have Harper 4th on my board, which is a shocking thing. People think I'm crazy for that. But if he's not a good shooter, then we've seen it's just really hard. The top 15 guards in the NBA right now are all unbelievable. Like, De'Aaron Fox isn't a top 15 guard in the NBA if you go stack it out. Like, think about the guys who miss out on making the All-Star team every year at guard. Like, it's just that's why Sean Bernard said Dylan Harper's for sure going to make All-Star games. And I was like, for sure? Like, that's where I pushed back on that. I think anyone outside of Flag, you can't say for sure is going to make an All-Star game. That's such a high bar, and it's even higher when you're a guard. So I don't want to trade up. Put that aside. That means your options are pretty much VJ, Khan, maybe Trey, maybe Malawak. I don't think there's been any rumors about Malawak. So here's where we're at. I want VJ. I want to take him with the 3rd pick. I have VJ 3rd overall. I think VJ looks how an athletic freak who ends up becoming a star in a couple of years looks at age 18. He was a top 5 high school recruit, even if there was concerns about the shooting in the workout, which, by the way, whoever leaked that from the Sixers organization should be launched into the sun. Daryl Morey and Josh Harris should be conducting an investigation unlike anything we've ever seen, hiring FBI agents to try to figure out who leaked that about VJ Edgecombe, because A, you're just putting down the guy that the Sixers are probably going to draft, or B, you're hurting our leverage and potentially trading down and getting more assets to trade down by saying that he sucked in a workout with us, and that's why we're trying to trade. No matter what the reason is, whoever leaked it, scumbag move. But,
and they just got rid of everybody due to the leaks. Like,
unbelievable.
Maybe. Well, again, it's hard to sit here. Only VJ Edgecombe would know whether or not that's true or not. And of course, Sixers representatives.
I'm sure it's true.
Yeah. That's terrible. They literally got rid of a ton of PR people. Joel Embiid's security guard. There was a Keith Pompey article early May that like really underneath the radar and should have gotten a heck of a lot more attention. And it was due simply to the fact of all the leaks, specifically with the Embiid news. Remember him showing up late to practice. We had that deal. Of course, the injuries, so on and so forth. So Sixers cleaned house. I don't necessarily say that that's how I would have handled business, but at the end of the day, if you have an issue, you got a rat, you got to get rid of them. And they chose to go down that path. So really interesting that somebody would put their neck on the line, leaking some sort of information like that about VJ Edgecombe.
And here we are. So I think the three realistic options in a slight trade back would be VJ, Trey, and Con. If you're trading back, that means you're probably giving up the right to take VJ. I think it's probably Charlotte that would move up and take VJ. If you're trading back and getting Trey Johnson, I'm in. I'm in on Trey Johnson, the superstar potential, the shot making. He oozes star potential. I think he also has a really low floor. I think that there is a potential Trey Johnson shoots his way out of the league in 3 or 4 years. Or I think there's a chance he's a better shooting Devin Booker. I think he's the widest range outcome prospect I can remember in a very long time. I think
he's the best shooter in this draft, top 10, top 15 lottery.
Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's
better than Knipple, better than Con Knipple.
Maybe Con's a better catch and shoot shooter. I think Trey's a better overall shooter because I think he can do it off the dribble and create it for himself more. And I think in the NBA, he will get more off than Con. He'll shoot more than Con will. Maybe Con shoots a higher percentage, but I think the true shooting would probably lean Trey. The concerns with Trey are about how much of a chucker is he? Can he become a 5-6 assist a game guy like Booker became eventually? I think he can. I think that Texas team was bad. I think Rodney Terry was a terrible coach, a bozo, and I think he was out there on his own, and he was like, okay, I guess I'm going to cook, and he cooked pretty well. He shot like 40% from three. So and they went to the playoffs. He was breaking Kevin Durant freshman scoring records. I think Trey Johnson's a stud. I would rather VJ. I think VJ is a rare high floor, high ceiling outcome guy. I think worst case for VJ, he's going to be a really, really good defender who averages 12 to 15 a game on offense. So I think VJ's floor is really safe and VJ's ceiling is still really high. So that's why I prefer VJ. Trey's ceiling is probably higher. Now, the problem is I do not want Corey Kispert in Concanupple. I do not want the third Bogdanovich brother. I think he's very much a rotation guy. Con is safe. I have him 9th. So when I talk about Con, it makes it seem like I hate the guy. He's not an NBA player, yada, yada, yada. Corey Kispert just got like $60 million. Bogdanovic have both made a bunch of money. Like Duncan Robinson at one point got like $80 million. So like there is value in those guys usually until they get paid. And then it's an immediate overpay and there's no value in those guys anymore. My biggest concern with Con, putting aside the offense, he's going to be a great shooter. I think there's more athletic questions than people want to act like there are. And I think we've gotten outside of like point guards. I think we've gotten a little too obsessed with like, ooh, that guy's a good passer. It's like, oh, he averages 3 assists instead of 1.5 assists. Like I get that that's not all that means. Connective passing, you pass it to the next guy. It helps the whole flow of the offense. But I think we're getting a little too obsessed with connective passing and almost over-indexing against guys who try to go get a bucket for themselves instead of being unselfish constantly and never taking the ball for themselves because they're on a team with Cooper Flagg and Malalock and all these other guys. I think he almost gets the benefit of the doubt. He averaged 3 assists a game. People are acting like he's going to be this, this point forward at the NBA. I don't see that. But putting all that aside, he's going to be a good offensive player. He is too slow to guard any guard that matters, and he's too short to guard any wing that matters. He's not going to be able to guard any of the top 15 guards. I was just talking. He's not going to be able to guard the top 30 guards, in my opinion. He's going to have to guard whoever the worst guard on the floor is because he's 6'4", and he's not able to go and defend the small forward who's on the floor either. So I have an intense amount of questions about Con's defense. And the funny thing about that is Con, a much better college defender than Trey Johnson. But the thing is, Trey Johnson's 6'6" with a 6'10.5" wingspan. How much of his defensive shortcomings were just him being the number one option on offense, who had to spend all of his energy on offense And then he was a little lazy on defense.
Sure.
Even though Trey was a much worse defender in college, Khan was defending around Proctor, who was an elite guard defender, Flagg, an elite defender, Malalock, an elite defender, a ton of other guys on that team who could really defend. And I think he was able to fit into a team defense role. And I don't see that at the next level instead of the ACC. Whereas Trey Johnson, I can at least hope that the defense progresses because of that wingspan. So all in all, my fear of it being Khan would make it so that I'd have a meltdown if we trade down. The season we just had, like you laid out, cannot end in Khan Knuppel being the big addition. It has to be VJ Edgecombe or Trey Johnson. Now I get like the value proposition if all these guys are closely grouped together, the fantasy football brain, the NFL draft brain. If you have all these prospects you have pretty much tied, why not trade down 2 or 3 spots, pick up some assets, and who knows who will be there in 2 or 3 spots. Maybe you still have a pick between multiple of them. I get that value proposition. But if you're Daryl Morey, you've never, ever had a lottery pick in your GM career, let alone the 3rd pick of the draft. It's a 2-player draft, clear in most people's mind, not in mine, not in my opinion, but in most people's opinion, 2-player draft. You have the 1st pick of the rest of the draft. You have your choice of the litter to fall in love with someone. You don't have to fall in love with 2 guys, 3 guys. You have to fall in love with 1 guy. I find it really hard to believe Daryl's not going to fall in love with 1 guy and pick that guy at 3. Now, maybe you could argue he's fallen in love with Khan and he's going to trade down 1 spot and still get the guy he loves. I find it hard to believe. I think VJ's the pick at 3. I think they stick and pick.
Yeah, I'm leaning with you as far as Johnson and Edgecombe. That's where I'm at. Knuppel, we talked about borderline lottery pick throughout the course of the season. Now all of a sudden it's, draft week, draft month, and he's a top 5 pick. I wasn't buying that. I'm not sure as hell not buying it now from the Sixers perspective.
I think he's going to go 4th.
Yeah, it's crazy, and like I think to make it really easy, in my opinion, I think that he's just going to shoot the daylights out of the 3 and he's going to be making them. And that's what the general manager that selects him will be hopeful for. He does feel like a fit in Charlotte, right? With the whole,
they need defense, in my opinion. VJ,
don't they fall in love with North Carolina players and Duke players and anybody that's in Tobacco Road, right? Like and can't say it's all worked out. Maybe players from the South as a whole. They took Gilchrist from Kentucky a few years ago. Yeah, exactly. So it does feel like that could be a pick that would fall in line with them. But from the Sixers perspective, I'm with you. Edgecombe or Gimme Johnson, and what we talked about as far as the shooting is concerned really excites me from Trey Johnson. But again, tomorrow night I am hopeful, and you know what? You really did calm me down a little bit because I do believe that what you said has to have some sort of truth behind it. Like Daryl Morey, dude, it's a 2-pick draft. Boom. You know who's going 1. You know who's going 2. You get the next pick. You're the first guy. You're the one that's going to change how this draft shakes out here. So go ahead and find your player. And oh, by the way, I don't know, when it comes to if this does apply to Daryl Morey, but job security, right? Like, can he move back? Can he get assets? You know what, man? He needs players that can go out there and make plays now.
I actually disagree with that. I actually don't care about now. Draft the guy who has the highest ceiling for the long term.
But if you're Daryl Morey coming off of that season, darn well he was definitely worried with Josh Harris. I think that there was
I don't know. I actually don't know. I think he might be more secure than we think in that job, which I actually think he should be. And I'm a Daryl guy. I think he's mostly done a good job. There's a couple things you can obviously point to, but you look at drafting McCain last year, the Maxey pick in 2020. Those are 2 better draft picks than most GMs make in 10 years, let alone
great picks. But when it comes to sales and satisfying your season ticket holder, which they are not doing right now, after what took place last year, that absolutely sent shockwaves through that practice facility in Camden and right up to the ownership group.
He inherited Joel, though. I think that's like a Joel related season that you can all point to, and maybe they should have been better without him. But I think the organization knows enough to know that once Joel goes down, it's all over. But
I like Morey. I do like Morey, but I am thinking that, you know what, man?
I think most people are along your side. I think most people think he's on the hot seat. I think I'm the one on giving a hot take a little bit, saying that I think his seat might be cooler.
You never know.
You
know how they operate over there. Daryl Morey runs the show. We know that.
What I will say, 100%. What I will say, though, is I love Daryl. I defend him. I think he's mostly been great. I didn't really want Paul George, but that's another conversation. But if you move back here, even if it works out and you get Trey Johnson, there will be a part of me that's like, this guy just looks at everything as an asset. And this guy, like, there's no human element to this. And everything's like, oh, if I move the decimal point here, I have a 7.2% chance of winning the East instead of a 6.3% chance of winning the East over the next 4 years and over the next 7 years. Like,
he talks like that when he gets interviewed.
I actually appreciate that. I appreciate it to a certain degree. I appreciate that. Yeah. But this can't be that. This has to be, you found the guy. You went out, you looked at Khan, you looked at Ace, you looked at Trey, you looked at VJ, you looked at Malawak. You want to throw whoever else in there, Fears, whoever you want to say. And you said, this is the guy that I kind of picked, and this is the guy I'm staking my claim in. Don't be cute. I'm all for trading down in the NFL draft. I'm all for doing it in fantasy football. This is the third pick. This is a rare opportunity.
All right. Couple quick ones as far as NBA is concerned. We did have a big-time trade last night. Big time. I mean, it is kind of big from Drew Holiday's perspective. I know he's kind of at the tail end of his career. Still owed. Wow, what contract did he get? Hell of an agent Drew Holiday has. He's a great player.
Coming off a title.
But he still owed $70+ million over the next 2 seasons. So Portland takes him on 2 second-round picks. Just as far as Boston, that's, our focus here. What did they get in return in your mind? What does this mean for the future of the Celtics? Your big takeaway from the deal last night was what?
How do they keep getting away with this? It's unbelievable.
They got Portland.
Yeah, it's a joke. Portland, I don't know why you're trying to get older. Anthony Simons is a better player than Drew Holiday. He's got flaws, sure. Over the last 4 years, he's averaged 17.3, 21.1, 22.6, and 19.3, about 4 to 6 assists per game. And wait, Boston got the picks for Portland to take the Drew contract? It makes no sense. Mike Chiodo, great follow on Twitter. I feel like I reference him all the time on these airwaves. And by the way, it's funny that I reference him. He's not a fan of mine, and I know that for a fact. That's a funny fact. But good tweet of his. He said, how we feel about the Celtics must be how Cowboys fans feel about the Eagles. Every time there's a signing or a trade or a draft pick, it's like, how did this happen? How did this work out for them? And that's how I feel right now about Boston picking up a young asset while cutting costs and getting picks back in return. They're seconds, but you can eventually, 5 seconds ended up being a part of that Kevin Durant trade, which was also a travesty. But Boston got absolutely, they fleeced Portland.
All right. Well, Shams said a couple weeks ago on the McAfee show, I believe it was actually, midway through the playoffs, that this was going to be potentially the craziest offseason ever as far as trades and movement in the NBA. I know Cowherd, the show before me, he took, he didn't agree with it at all. I remember he was very passionate about his take with the state of the NBA free agency being done, blah, 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 blah. But here we are. The offseason literally just started 2-3 nights ago. Sunday night was the end. So 2 days ago. And we've had a couple trades to deal with. We're rolling right into the NBA draft, which is probably going to bring on some more trades. We just had the one that broke as we went live here with the New Orleans Pelicans. And it's Jordan Poole season. Jordan Poole and Zion Williamson. Does that move the needle?
No, I kind of hate that for the Pelicans. CJ McCollum doesn't have any value, and also was the CBA president for the worst CBA that's ever been negotiated in any sport. So I think everybody in the sport hates him. But CJ, I can't imagine you couldn't have flipped that salary for a salary that's, what does Jordan Poole have left on his contract? I'm trying to, maybe he has less time. I'm trying to figure out here.
Jordan Poole, current contract, 4-year, $128. He signed in 22.
So yeah, he's got 2 years left, and Drew has, and CJ has. This is bad radio. I apologize, but CJ, I think CJ has the same amount of years left.
Really? Wow, that's a hell of a deal too for CJ McCollum, man. Crazy. Well, I'll tell you what, we will be talking a little bit about Players Association reps with.
Oh no, McCollum is 1 year deal. So this is the last year for McCollum. See, I double hate that for the Pelicans. You add a year with Jordan Poole, you gave up the 40th pick. Yeah, I don't get that for either team really, but I get it more for the Wizards just to get like professional basketball players to maybe change the culture, I guess. But yeah, I don't. That doesn't make a lot of sense for New Orleans, in my opinion.
Didn't the Pelicans bring in a new GM too?
Joe Dumars, who was the GM for years in Detroit.
Correct. Yeah. How about that? All right, NBA draft conversation. Just throw it out there in the timeline. If the 76ers decide to move back, what will be your immediate reaction? And again, everybody has the same thing. Well, what do they get in return? Yeah, I hear you. And yes, you are 100% correct. But for the people that really don't pay attention and don't care about the assets and, of course, the what's in return, just focus on the big picture. And that is, this is a disaster of a team last year. This is, your ultimate prize for what took place. Go out there and get a damn player that can help you. I know that Mark Henry Jr. somewhat and I disagree about helping on the now, but I do feel like, and quickly on this one, does the deal with Quentin Grimes change anything? Are you affected by any of these new contracts or potentially a new player come in? And would that have an impact to you or an effect on drafting said player at 3 or moving back? Or are you one of these guys? Because I'm the same way where I'm like, dude, just get me players. Get me ball players. We just looked at the Pacers. We looked at the Oklahoma City Thunder, how deep they were. You have to have depth. Go out there and find players. I never thought Jared McCain would be as good as he was in year 1. Great player there. So go out there and draft somebody with 3. And if you bring back Quentin Grimes, which I hope you do, it's an even bigger, bonus.
You just can't lose Grimes because you just can't lose an asset for free. You have so few assets. If you get him for 10, 15, 20 million, I don't care what it is, it's a tradable contract. So you put that with the Clippers pick at the deadline if you are competitive, and maybe that gets you the wing that you needed. Or maybe you can flip him to Houston in a sign and trade for a guy like Tari Eason or Cam Whitmore that can play the wing for us instead of Grimes playing the guard. But you just can't not pay him because you can't lose the asset for free. But I'm also not letting Quentin Grimes determine what pick we make. Now, what I would say is I was kind of worried about the logjam of guards, and it was kind of my point of why Ace Bailey was the perfect pick at 3rd overall. But we're moved past that now, and it seems like the only options are guards. So unless you want to say Malawak, which I'm down with Malawak. I like Malawak more than most. I have him 6th overall. I have him basically tied with Trey Johnson at 5th. Don't really think there's been a lot of buzz connecting us to Malawak, and I feel like I don't think they're going to want to send that message to Joel, even if I think that's maybe dumb. If he's the right pick, I think he should be the right pick because I think he's the pick for the future and the now. Like if Joel's playing, you're still going to have 20 games where he's out, and you're still going to have potentially games where he misses in the playoffs. And then you have a guy to step right in there. And it's kind of what we've never had. Or if Joel, is done and now we have a center. So either way, I think either timeline, the Joel is here timeline or the Joel is basically, imaginary timeline, then I think Malawak fits either. But seems like they're not. And it seems like in general, he's fallen to the back end of the top 10.
I was high on him throughout the course of the tournament. Then what do you have a bad championship game, right?
Where 0 rebounds against Houston.
Yeah. So that's when everybody was like, brace, take it easy. And I'm like, all right, maybe I was a little over the top on him. But
I think it's an outlier. I think it was an outlier.
But it also, that I agree with, but it also comes down to the fact that the Sixers are picking 3rd overall. They're picking 3rd overall. I don't have to worry about guys 9, 8, 9, 10, 11. The Sixers are picking 3rd overall, and I didn't want him at 3, so therefore I haven't talked about him. But now, who the hell knows what's true and what's real and what's not? We will hit on
rumor, a real quick from a little birdie for the Big 5 folks out there. Rasheer Fleming maybe falling really far in the draft, maybe not handling the interview process greatly. Just some murmurs. Tweet. And the Sixers do have the 35th pick, so maybe you move up a little bit if a guy like that starts falling. He's 11th on my board, and apparently he's now kind of maybe a fringe first rounder.
14.7 for St. Joe's last season, so a pretty good season there. All right, other side, Mark, we got a lot to discuss. Fantastic job in all things NBA draft. Folks, if you want to ask Mark a question, first of all, do so on our socials at Fox PHL Gambler, all things NBA draft. This man does it all. He is a true sports guru. We ride the sports carousel whenever he hops on the Daily Ticket. And, of course, you can hear his show every Saturday morning from 11 to 1 following the great Dick Girardi and Mike Kern right here on The Gambler. Now, with that being said, other side, Mark Henry Jr., first of all, it's hot outside. We're going to have some fun. I got 5 burning questions coming your way. 5 burning questions. A true radio segment, but we're going to have some fun with that. But also, other side, Southpaw Showdown, as I said, going down in H-Town. Ranger versus Framber Valdez. 2 nasty lefties, 2 playoff caliber squads at this point in time. Heck of a pitcher's duel going down, Phillies and Astros. Dare I say October vibes in June. We're going to discuss that game from the betting perspective on the other side. All that and more. It's a Daily Ticket. More of this.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Superstar performances, never before seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Car fire has it crawling Boulevard southbound 9th to Wissahickon. Only the left lane gets by, and northbound Jan Skickle to Broad. 95 northbound back to Allegheny to Bridge, and crawling Cotman to Woodhaven. Crash is only the left lane getting by. Southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. All right, to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Amazon Prime Day.
Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news, this year you'll have 4 days to find deals on all of your favorite things. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much. I also have other symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome and lower back pain, and I thought something's really off. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. It's a condition that gets worse over time, so starting treatment early is important. Talk to your cardiologist today to see if you have ATTR-CM. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You own or manage a business here in Philadelphia. Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat? Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Hey now, Daily Ticket with you here on a hot Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. Feels like a Friday. What am I saying? Going to see F1 tonight. Jansen and Mark Henry Jr. are movie aficionados. I don't mean to slight anybody else on this station. Jansen and I are going to be taking a trip to Ben Salem to catch F1 tonight. Brad Pitt on the big screen, Mark Henry Jr. It's a thumbs up. What's Brad Pitt's best movie, in your opinion?
For me, I would probably say I'm a huge Once Upon a Time in Hollywood guy.
That was good.
So that's probably where my mind goes. Obviously, he has I'd say like Fight Club and Seven are up there. For me, I'm more recent Brad Pitt guy than the 90s Brad Pitt, I guess. Moneyball's right there as well. Yeah, Moneyball. Absolutely.
Moneyball is I don't care when people wasn't real. That's what people sound like.
I just tweeted about this recently. So I'm a big Sorkin guy. Loved West Wing. Sorkin's wrote some of my favorite stuff of all time. Few Good Men. A lot of Sorkin's. If you go look at his just list of writing credits, it's insane. He wrote Social Network as well. But Sorkin wrote Moneyball, and I just think for whatever your issues, they didn't say Miguel Tejada's name. Barry Zito. No, like for us nerds, I get it. Like there's some frustrating things about it. I'll never ever. That was a book I loved Moneyball. Changed the way I viewed the sport of baseball at a young age. Kind of how I got into analytics in the middle of that kind of Phillies 2008 to 2011 run, that somewhere in there that book came out and it completely transformed how I viewed baseball. And I'll never forget hearing that they were making a movie based on the book. And I just remember being like, that book is so number heavy. Like you go look at that book, it's so statistical and it's just a lot of numbers talking about a lot of specific players, undervalued. Like it's an incredible book. But I was like, how the hell are they going to make this like an interesting movie? Like I didn't understand how that could possibly be an interesting movie. And I'll never forget the first time I saw it, the way that it's shot, the score and the soundtrack of the movie, the way it's written it's very Sorkin-esque, where no one actually talks like that in the real world, but you can kind of get away with it for an hour and a half in a movie. I love that movie. One of the most rewatchable movies of all time.
Yes.
I'm only allowed on my Letterboxd 25-star movies. If I ever want to give another movie 5 stars, I have to take one off of that 5-star list. Moneyball is safely on that 5-star list. But A Star Is Born just got lopped off recently.
That was a good flick. Good flick. Star Is Born is a good flick. Yeah.
It got knocked down to 4.5 by Sinners. Had to get Sinners in. It's my favorite movie in 15 years.
Oh, I gotta see it. I've been dying to see it. It's still $30 to rent at the house. I wanted to go movie theater, but you know how it works.
Of course.
Anyways, going tonight. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Wait, real quick. Can I get the top 10 off my chest? Of the last 25 years. I don't know if you've seen this, Brace, all over Twitter.
Bring it.
the top 10.
Top 11 players in Philadelphia sports right now.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts, number 11. But I don't know if you saw, but everybody on Twitter has given their 10 favorite movies of the 21st century. It's a New York Times little 10-piece graphic. I just
count it down from back 10-1.
So yeah, I initially just put it in chronological order, but I'm gonna go. I just put it in actual order. 10, Interstellar. I'm going with Interstellar. Love Interstellar. My favorite. Probably my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Over Dark Knight. Over Oppenheimer. Over a lot of his movies.
Dude,
I love Interstellar.
Interstellar is deep. It lost me. It's
definitely it's definitely one of those that I think benefits from multiple viewings.
That's probably correct. I've been telling myself to go back and rewatch it. Not gonna lie to you.
That's one. Movie theaters have been airing that in theaters on like 40 millimeter or whatever. I don't know the jargon, but they've been airing it on the crazy screens and the IMAX, and people are selling out in New York City in theaters to go watch Interstellar 6 years later. But number 9, I've got Wolf of Wall Street.
Great movie.
Not my favorite Leo DiCaprio role, but Leo, in my opinion, the best actor of all time. My favorite actor of all time.
Best actor of all time, Leonardo DiCaprio.
For me, it's like not close for me. That's how crazy I am about Leo. There'll be a couple more Leo.
I love him too. Love him. Yeah, he's phenomenal. I love him even in a different movie.
Not my favorite Leo performance, but I think it's the iconic one that people will remember. Rewatchables calls it the Apex Mountain. I think that was his Apex Mountain. I think that was the time where he was at his peak in that era. And he right after did The Revenant and went on to win Best Actor and a couple other movies. But that's number 9 for me. Number 8, Knives Out. Knives Out. I'm going with it. Number 8. Love Knives Out. They did not live up to that with the sequel. Number 7, The Nice Guys. This is probably the movie that the least people have seen.
I've seen it. Didn't make my list. That's for damn sure. But I respect your take here.
I love it. It's almost like there's like 3 movies wrapped into one there with a comedy and action, a little bit of a drama, a spoof. I think that's my favorite Ryan Gosling performance of all time, but followed right by number 6, La La Land.
Never seen it.
I would say me being a theater guy and a musical guy benefits La La Land. I think the opening scene is like breathtaking with the cars on the freeway, everybody getting out of the car and doing the dances, going car to car. One of my favorite scenes in the last 25 years. Obviously, it's number 6 on the list here. Number 5, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Shout out Tarantino.
Fantastic.
Probably my favorite Brad Pitt movie, and I think maybe the best Leonardo DiCaprio performance. Maybe Django's in there too, but I think Leo in that movie portraying the self-doubt of that actor and 8 whiskey sours. Yeah, I love Leo in that movie. And Brad, it's funny, the first time I saw that movie, I walked away being like, man, Brad Pitt is the best actor. He's the man. And the more times I watch that movie, the more I walk away being like, Leo's actually the one who acted his butt off in that movie. Number 4, Sinners. Just came out in 2025. Anybody who hasn't seen it, go see it. It made a killing at the box office. Good for Ryan Coogler. He got points on it. He owns the rights in like 20 years when it lapses. So big deal for Ryan Coogler, one of my favorite directors. Number 3, and back-to-back Fincher movies here, The Social Network at number 3. I think it's the best movie of the 2010s. Best movie of that decade. Jesse Eisenberg, one of the best performances ever. Another Sorkin. The
Justin Timberlake was money in that too.
Absolutely. Timberlake. Yep. And Fincher is known for being psychotic. He makes people do 100 takes to pick up a piece of paper and write something down. He got like the perfect cast for that movie to buy in. Eisenberg was fresh-faced and new. He was looking for his break as a big star. Timberlake wanted to prove he was an actor and not a singer anymore. Yeah, you had Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield.
There you go. He was solid. Yeah, great movie. Great movie. Garfield. You're right. Yep.
Love
great
Andrew
movie.
Garfield. Number 2, Zodiac. Love the movie Zodiac, another Fincher classic. Maybe it's up there with number 1 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'd say, for like my favorite cast of all time. You've got Downey throwing 100 on the black. You got Jake Gyllenhaal, my favorite Gyllenhaal role of all time. I'm not a huge Gyllenhaal guy, I'd say.
Oh my goodness.
That's my number. I saw him in a play in Broadway actually though. But that's my number one movie for Gyllenhaal. That's when I think Gyllenhaal, that's the movie I think of. And same thing with Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo as that cop who's got the honor. I love Mark Ruffalo. And I forget the guy's name. I can't believe I forgot his name. The guy who plays the alleged Zodiac killer in that movie, Arthur Lee. I forget his name in real life. He's in a ton of stuff. Bald guy. And then best movie of the last 25 years, The Departed. Scorsese. And in my opinion, the best acting performance of the last 25 years, Matt Damon in that movie as that rat who you know what happens later on with the rat. But
great movie.
My favorite movie of the last 25 years.
Watching that literally 2 weeks ago with my 5-year-old daughter on TBS, and my wife comes in going, as she's over there, it was so good. I wasn't changing the channel, and it was the whole elevator scene at the end. And then my wife was like, what are you doing watching this right now? Yeah. Nice work. I would just say, for my money, Jill.
What did I leave out? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, whatever. Teach their own, right? But Prisoner was with Hugh Jackman and Joan. Oh, fantastic movie. 2013. That would be on my top 10. I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. But yes, great list. Great list. Nonetheless, a lot of movies that I would definitely agree with. I got to see La La Land. I know they had a big buzz. Nice work by you on that one, Mark Henry Jr. And you could always tweet Mark, listen to his show every Saturday morning right here on The Gambler. All right, let's go. Five burning questions. You ready to rock here? Get you out of here on this one.
Cousin Nicky commented American Gangster. Good movie. Very good movie. Wouldn't make my list, but good movie.
Yeah, it's tough to leave. What, Training Day? Was Training Day top 25 last 25 years?
I don't know. I like Denzel, but I kind of think it all goes together for me.
2001.
It's all about I would say they're all 4-star movies. Like they're all very, very good, but I wouldn't say any are like elite. Remember would be my favorite, but it's
there you go. Yeah.
Disney-fied for me. But
we won't turn this into The Ringer, but we might have to do like a movie night, movie show here on The Gambler with you. Of course, Roy, I'm sure would have a couple takes in this department. Cousin Nicky Jansen, roll him in here. All right, 5 burning questions because it's hot as hell. We won't waste any time with the Phillies. Do have Kyle Fisher. He's coming up next. We'll spend a lot of time with the Phillies and the Houston Astros. Talk a little big picture stuff, MLB with him as well. Cal Raleigh, again, unbelievable. 5 burning questions, Mark Henry Jr. Question number 1. What's the worst summer sports take you've heard this month?
Thank God he was hurt. Thank God Halliburton's hurt. when Stephen A said that, what was it, game 5? Game 6, whatever that was. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be a bad soundbite."
So stupid. You got it. And somebody had Nick Wright had a really good take about Stephen A. and how ESPN is watering down the big events by just rolling it. Like, you got to change it up. He is so spot on with his take. If you missed it, go check it out. We won't waste any more time.
Great take on Pablo Torre, I thought as well.
I didn't hear it.
He went on Dan Le Batard's show. Nick Wright, I'm not a huge fan of, but he put up a thing of Pablo Torre. I guess Pablo Torre went after him maybe. And he was like, yeah, I listened to Pablo's last podcast and he mentioned the Peabodys a lot. And he put together like a little super clip of Pablo mentioning how many times in that podcast with Bill Simmons that he was a Peabody award-winning journalist or a Peabody-nominated journalist. There is a lot of, I'm better than you and I'm a real journalist.
Pablo Torre? Absolutely. Yeah, but he is killing it, though, too. It seems like everything he does is like, not everything, but the majority of the stuff that he puts out has some.
He has a hive.
Yeah, it definitely has a hive. To tell you the truth, this NFL story that he broke today doesn't have nearly enough attention. But
we disagree on this. I kind of think it's been. This is like the Pablo Torre thing to me. It's like he gets like a little nugget on something that's like basically been out there.
It's a little nugget. We have text messages from owner to owner.
You didn't think that was happening?
But this is proof. And, by the way, which I need to learn more about, the fact that the Players Association was in on it to a point. Like, what?
Yeah, I just think we know that there's funky stuff going on. Jim Irsay, when he came out and was like, we don't like what Cleveland did. And he said it as a we. That's a group. Like, I think it's been clear since the Watson trade that the way that business is being done with quarterbacks is different since that day.
Does it stop there with quarterbacks? It could. It should. It probably doesn't.
Yeah, maybe it might.
You know,
here's my take on storylines like this. What's the end point? What's the verdict?
It has superstar names. It is NFL related, and it's June 24th. I'm amazed that that's not all over the place, but maybe ESPN might be a little reluctant to throw it out there. I also think it's a little bit more complicated. This isn't something that you're going to run on the bottom line, right? You need to have a little bit more explanation into it. But I do think that, you know what? Bring back Behind the Lines. All right, let's go. Bring back Behind the Lines. Go get me Bob Lee. Go get me General Bob Lee. Bring him back. Let's go.
I used to 10-year-old Mark was like, "Are you kidding me? Behind outside the lines? Get this off my screen." I was like, I want no parts of this. 12-year-old Mark wants to watch baseball tonight or NFL Live. I didn't want to see Bob Lee.
I can't believe I just got the damn name of the show wrong.
I didn't want Bob Lee coming on and saying middle schoolers are getting concussions at a really high rate. Better be worried about this. And I was like, I'm 12. I don't want to. I don't want to be watching this.
I missed the general. All right, quickly. Here we go. One athlete, coach, or sports media personality that you'd least want to be trapped in a broken down bus for 6+ hours. Did you see that the
Jim Harbaugh?
Okay, nice. Good answer. Iron Pigs bus had no AC. Got the team running around with no shirts on. Unbelievable. All right, number 3, summertime questions here. You have to create a new Olympic sport combining some summer activities. Where are you going?
Gambling.
like that. We'll give you
on the other Olympic sports.
Nice. Number 4, what's your guilty go-to pleasure show or movie like the Luke had one yesterday with Pleasure Island?
I love the challenge in Big Brother. I'm not guilty about it though.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there is one I'm guilty about. I'm not like I'm not very macho. So like Crazy Stupid Love, fantastic rom-com, one of my favorite.
There you go. And finally, name one current athlete you're bringing to the backyard barbecue.
Who do I trust? Who's a? I feel like one of the. I don't know. I'll go Jalen. He's got to be.
Yeah, I'd probably bring Saquon because he's just gonna get along with everybody.
Maybe they're wrong people.
Mark, you're the best. Great job across the board. Always a pleasure. Tough Cover Radio Show every Saturday morning from 11 to 1. Take us out.
Tough Cover. Gambler country. Let's ride.
There he is. Nobody does it better. Nice work, Mark Henry Jr. Other side, Kyle Fish is going to join me. We're going to talk some Phillies. Of course, big time game. 2 awesome lefties going head to head. It's a Southpaw showdown in H-Town. More Daily Ticket after this.
Rocket.com is the new home for all things home ownership. Whether you're buying your first home, finding your next one, or unlocking home equity to fund one of your dreams, there's only one destination that has everything you need to get started all under one roof. Get started today at Rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Well, check out Ice Cube's Big 3 all summer long. Fast, physical, and fun. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you. Now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. If you're looking for something to add to your bucket list, Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fan and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever, whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download and try the app today. Now available on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America. Welcome America is a public-private partnership with the city of Philadelphia. We're a nonprofit organization whose mission is to conceptualize, plan, and deliver the city of Philadelphia's largest annual celebrations. That includes Wawa Welcome America around July 4th. It includes the Philly Holiday Experience and other special projects throughout the year. Our job is to build community, bring neighbors and neighborhoods together, and provide an opportunity for Philadelphians to celebrate together. The way that we engage the community is we make sure that everything that we do at Wawa Welcome America, from tiny little events in communities all the way up to the concert and fireworks on the Parkway, are 100% free of charge. We remove all of the economic and financial barriers to participate in these celebrations. During the festival, over the course of 16 days, we will also make over 40 museums and cultural institutions around the city available completely free of charge through our free museum program. It's really an opportunity for people to come together to celebrate. We want to make sure that people can do this without having to worry about the price of a ticket. July4thphilly.com. That's our website. It's got a complete lineup of our entire 16-day festival. It's got little hints about things that are coming in the future, as well as our social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all July4thphilly.com and hashtag July4thphilly.
Comcast Business, powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT because nothing fights sweat better. Stay fresher under pressure.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
The Phillies open a 3-game series in Houston tonight. Left-hander Ranger Suarez takes the ball for Philly, who's won 8 of their last 10 games. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts is the author of a new children's book, Bigger Than a Touchdown, has messages of teamwork, resilience, and self-belief. And an arbitrator's ruled that the NFL did ask teams to collude against fully guaranteed veteran contracts, but there's no evidence that they actually did it. I'm Scott Davidson.
The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are back with offers on vehicles like the 2025 E-Class, CLE Coupe, C-Class, and EQE Sedan. Hurry in now through July 31st. Visit your local authorized dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/dream.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heads up, we've had a crash causing problems on 95 northbound, crawling Allegheny all the way up to Academy, where only the left lane is getting by. Southbound 95, Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Then further south, heavy Ridley Park to 320. Schuylkill westbound, so University to Vine, Jam Boulevard to Belmont, and so Gladwood to Conshohocken. Eastbound heavy Blue Route to Belmont and Montgomery Drive to south. The Vine Expressway busy both ways, Schuylkill to Broad. 42 south delays off the Walt Whitman to Creek Road. All right, to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Amazon Prime Day.
Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news, this year you'll have 4 days to find deals on all of your favorite things. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is on now. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, cash. That's cash. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now.
Wood drives one, deep right field. It's hooking toward the corner. Will it stay fair? It hits the foul pole. It's a home run. James Wood bangs it off the foul pole for a 3-run shot. The Nationals blow it wide open as they lead it 9-3.
All right, you're wondering why the hell I'm playing a James Wood home run. Now, he's hit a bunch of them this year. Of course, he plays for the Washington Nationals. Big-time win by the Nats last night in San Diego. That was a loss for us. We did have Acuna going yard. He's still celebrating. Come on, dude. Just run the bases. What are we doing here? Kyle Fisher joining me. Yeah, James Wood. I did not know that this would be a topic of discussion today. However, before I left the house a little earlier today, apparently, you know how it is in the sports gambling world that we live in. Shout out to my guy, Kilkenny. I know Kenny had a huge following, the Mooney Gang, and still is doing it. The Discord. Kenny was one of the first. I believe Chili Betts is his name, and he's been around for a long time. I tend not to follow these people. And the reason why is because they're always putting out these tickets. And it's just like, damn, dude, like, I want that. I need to gamble more. I got to be, you know, it just doesn't work for me. All right. I'm not cashing those type of tickets. So I stopped following a lot of those people. All love and respect. Just don't need that on my timeline. Well, apparently everybody follows Chili Betts, and they did have James Wood going yard. So he does. He goes absolutely yard last night, late too. Top of the 8th inning. There it is. Yeah, it was off the foul pole, and apparently a ton of people cashed in. Again, you tell me if it's true or not. You believe what you want to believe, but FanDuel apparently has changed the rules as early as this morning, and now they can they will now allow to not pay gamblers who hit big money after tailing heavily followed parlays. Section 15.2.5, as I spit all over my computer screen. You got to love that. We suspect that your account's usage could represent business usage. Business usage includes any use by a betting operator or any use by an individual or organization supplying data or service to a betting operator. They no longer have to pay you out on that one. And then finally, it says 8.13, FanDuel Sportsbook reserves the right to void any or all bets made by any group of people acting in conjunction with each other or any individual acting alone in any attempt to defraud FanDuel Sportsbook. Dude, that ain't right, man.
So if anything hits, they can basically just, sorry. If anything big hits, they reserve the right because they can come up with some connection that they'll never reveal to the world, saying, oh, well, we think you got it from whatever 1-800 number you called that runs on Saturday morning before your local sports talk show. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
They always find a way to win. I mean, it's, whatever. It's not Vegas. It's not local to Vegas anymore, but the house always wins, man. This is why I don't get involved in the first place.
That's a tough pill to swallow. And again, I'm live now, so let me just follow up by saying I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty damn close to it with this being real. It's all over the place. Everybody cashed in. Everybody had it last night. He is a big-time provider of those type of plays, the parlays. And, again, it was a late-night game against the Padres, so I'm sure a lot of people were connecting the dots on that. Just that ain't right, man. It ain't right, and it's just more to exactly what you just said, that it's tough sledding when you really want to cash in. I know people that are just some limited to $10 plays, and it's like, man, if you want to, the Super Bowl, I was limited, and I'm a nobody. Like, I was the Eagles. I was trying to put $1,000 on the Eagles, and couldn't even get that play in. It's just it's just absurd. It's an Eagles play. It's a local play. Of course, we're going to put a couple dollars there on it, but regardless,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, more of the same, more of the same. Anyways, let's get it on over to Philadelphia. Kyle, how we doing today, sir? Great to have you on today's show. Of course, coming off of taking 2 of 3 against the New York Mets at Citizens Bank Park over the weekend. Fantastic job by the Fightins there. Now on top of the division, Mets are leaking oil. Braves went up to Citi Field and beat them pretty good yesterday. It was actually a tight game, but still coming away with that victory. I did not think that the Braves were going to win that game, even though they were favorites in that one. But with all that being said, we got ourselves a great game tonight in Houston. Before we talk about that, your big takeaway from the weekend series versus the Mets was what?
The return of Jesus Luzardo. The concern, from a lot of folks was that he's past his innings limit from last season, or excuse me, past the number of innings he threw last season. He started to struggle a little bit. I think he had one good game mixed in out of like 2 or 3 rougher ones. And the question was, is he starting to lose steam already coming off of an injury-plagued season? Not that he was cooked for good, but maybe I need to take a step back for him when it comes to innings or, Phantom IL situation, whatever you want to do. Some concerns raised about the starting rotation as a result. However, he goes out there and shoves on Sunday. Clutch moment, huge crowd, probably the most exciting crowd supporting both teams that he's experienced in his career. So to see him go out there poised and just dominate, especially the top of the Mets lineup, which is really strong, to go out there and dominate was really good to see. So that's my biggest takeaway. Second would be the offense. They're falling in love with themselves again, falling in love with the team. Not all getting it done by the long ball. A lot of pass the baton mentality that Topper's kind of preached over the years. Next guy up mentality. That's always been a thing for him. So to see them have a few innings where it was hit, walk, hit, finally delivering the dagger in some of those situations. And the dagger wasn't a 2-run shot or a 3-run shot and nothing else happens. It was, let's get the bases loaded. Okay, bases clearing double from Bryson Stott. Get the bases loaded again. Huge hit from somebody else. Otto Kemp showing what he can do in big situations and big games. So everybody's starting to contribute all at once. With a guy like Bryce Harper out, that's what you want to see. So I'd put Luzardo's resurgence at number 1. Still need to see what he does in the next few. And then the offense kind of playing past the baton would be the second takeaway.
Yeah, Cassidy, big-time weekend. Of course, as you pointed out with Stott, with that huge double off the wall that cleared the bases. We had that major league vibe scene where it was JT and Cassidy, I think, were sliding neck and neck. Pretty cool stuff there.
That was awesome.
Again, just a big time series with a lot of juice in the ballpark and to deliver and take first place and rewarding the fans that were down there. It wasn't exactly 100-degree heat like it is today, but still a lot of fun and keep it going. That's all there is to it. As this team rolls on down to Houston, and now they got themselves a pretty big game against the Houston Astros. I get it. It's a team from the West, American League, but these are the type of games that you want to check. The temperature, right? You want to see if the steak that's on the grill is done. You can pull it off at 160, 145. Sorry, I almost said 165. That's chicken. You're gonna be 165. I'll go 145 for the steak. That's what it is. And against a pitcher like Valdez, who has been lights out in these past 8 starts, 8.4 record on the season, 3.09 ERA. He is unbeaten over his last 8 starts, going 7-0 with a 2.13 ERA, 62 strikeouts in 55 innings. So yeah, this is a game that you want to see what you look like against a team that could potentially be in the World Series. Correct?
For sure. From my perspective, this is a game that's going to have a lot of eyeballs. Scouts around the league are going to be looking at this game, not for this upcoming trade deadline, and I know we'll get there later, but Valdez and Suarez, 2 crafty left-handers. They're both free agents at the end of this season. They're both having incredible seasons. People are going to be watching this game very closely. Like you said, the Astros were kind of middling the first 2 months of the season. Well, how's a 14-6 so far in June? Right back at the top of the division. They are hot as a team, riding the back of Framber. So despite the fact that they have a lot of rookies in that rotation right now, Framber ain't one of them. And he's a guy who's been able to handle the Phillies just fine. In his regular season starts, he's gone 12 innings, 13 Ks, a 2.25 ERA against the Phillies. And he beat them twice in the World Series. 6 or more innings twice. He's held the entire Phillies lineup to a 203 batting average combined, obviously not including Harper because he won't be here. But he has handled the Phillies every single time he's seen them. And and he's hot right now. So despite how good Rangers been, 1.17 ERA in his last 8 himself, it's going to be a tough challenge for these two, and it's going to be which offense stays hotter against these tough lefties.
Yeah, minus 157 for the Astros. Valdez, of course, at home, plus 129 for the Phillies, which is more surprising for your money. The fact that the total is listed at 7.5, only 8 runs will cash that for you between these two offenses, these two teams, and what they've been producing as of late, or the fact that the Phillies are plus 129 underdogs. Which one's more surprising to you, Kyle Fisher?
Ooh, I want to say that the Phillies are the underdogs, but really it's the man, because the runs, I mean, you have 2 stellar pitchers on the mound. Of course, 8 runs could get it done easily. I think that, yeah, man, those are 2 really, really good bets. If you're making me pick one, I'd say the Phillies as a, what did you say, 129 underdog?
Correct. Plus 129.
I'd probably say that's more surprising, but they're both really, really good lines.
Yeah, that's why they do what they do. Pretty good at what they do, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So as far as that is concerned, we don't have a lineup out just yet, but we could assume that we're going to see the big dog in there, like Kyle Schwarber. I'm going to say Kyle Fisher. It would have been funny if you were going down there to play. We're going to
see that.
Nick Castellanos. We're going to see Trey out there. Is there somebody that you're taking from this weekend's performance and saying, you know what? I think they're going to continue to stay hot, and if they have the mental makeup to compete against a guy like Framber Valdez and have success tonight in Houston, is there anybody catching your attention? Bohm would be a guy. I know it's the lefty-righty matchup, maybe potentially that could get some eyeballs there. Is there one player from the Phillies' perspective that you're looking at tonight a little bit more?
Well, Bohm, I think he's going to be in the lineup no matter what. So I don't think that it would be a surprise to see him go down there and do well. Not only is he a good hitter against both hands, he really does well against left-handed hitting and left-handed pitching rather. And he's one of the best hitters as far as overall right now on the Phillies. He's so hot. To me, I gotta think that Edmundo Sosa is going to take that swag from Sunday and apply it tonight. He's more than likely going to get the start over Bryson Stott at second base, just facing a left-handed, such a tough left-handed pitcher in Valdez. Guy hits an opposite field homer, the furthest opposite field homer he's ever hit in his career on Sunday. It was the 9th opposite field homer of his career. First time I've ever seen him pimp a home run. You see that little jump he did after crushing that one? He has some swagger that he's playing with right now, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him do some damage against Valdez tonight. Maybe not another home run, but another 2-for-3 game, maybe something like that. I could see him coming up and showing out down in Houston.
Well, we will mark the tape just in case he does go yard, because right now Kyle Fisher just gave out Sosa home run plus 850. Not kidding. Oh. That's a nice number there to sprinkle just a little bit. Total base is at plus 185 for 2. So a good name to have in your mind, maybe potentially if you're trying for some of that FanDuel money out there. We're not going to cash a James Wood ticket that everybody's a millionaire instantly overnight. But bottom line is we're trying to steer you in the right direction. As far as strikeouts are concerned, one quick look at as far as what those numbers are right now. Framber Valdez at 6.5 minus 105. Ranger at 4.5 minus 140. Rangers normally at the 6.5 total mark. And he's gone over a bunch. Let me pull up those exact numbers because I know I cashed in on him last game out that he had 6 strikeouts, but anything for you as far as high strikeout totals? Is there one side that generally you think might struggle a little bit more than the other?
I think Framber's more than likely. If you're picking between the two on who's going to go over, I'd go Framber. Not that the Phillies have been striking out a ton like they have in the past few seasons, but Ranger's a guy who has no problem getting it done with ground balls and weak contact. So although he can give you 6 to 8 strikeouts a game, he's been hovering in like the 4 to 6 range. I think that the safer bet is probably going Framber if you're going to bet on strikeouts between one or the other.
Interesting. Yeah, Rangers Suarez strikeouts 8 over last time out, 6 over previous game. That was the game against the Blue Jays, or maybe it's the Marlins. I forget. The 5, he stayed under 5.5 against the Pirates. He finished with 2, stayed under the 5.5 against the Brew Crew, and then he went over. He is normally going over that strikeout total when it's set around the 4.5 to 5.5 mark. So last time that he has had the 4.5, as I said, against the Toronto Blue Jays, he did go over that number. Again, we're talking about a little bit different of an offense, but still Toronto pretty good in their own right as far as offensive firepower is concerned. and he finished with 6 strikeouts there. So we'll see what happens. Bullpen will be rested, right? Ready to go. So maybe Ranger might not stay in there. But again, this is a guy that goes to the 7th inning. So for my money, I'm going to put a little bit on Ranger Suarez to go over that number as far as strikeouts are concerned.
Well, if you look at the track record, see, I didn't have that in front of me, so good research by you, Sean.
I don't know.
Still, you pulled it up.
I don't know if we can call that research when I do it on the fly. That's more of like, pulling something out of my ass.
I don't know, man. Live research is way more pressure than coming in and being prepared. And you got it in no time. We didn't have silence. We didn't have dead air. Nothing, sir. So I'm going to give you the credit for coming up with it on the fly.
Means a lot coming from that side of the mic, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. But yeah, I think it's not a bad bet. If I'm picking one, I'm going Framber just because I think looking at the offense that the Astros have right now, and like you said, maybe over the last 8 starts he's gone over majority of the time, but if you look at the last 3, he's gone under. So I'll take the under if I was putting a bet down, I'd say the under on Ranger. Still getting through 6, maybe into the 7th, regardless.
Yeah, we opened up the show with Mark Henry Jr., and I was talking to him about whether or not he is surprised that the Astros are as good as they are currently on top of the West and kicking butt and taking names. And then Mark opened my eyes, and maybe I should have been a little bit more aware, but the American League is down, man. That's a bad league right now. You are, you got the Yankees, no doubt about it. Nobody's denying that. You got the Tigers, of course, and you got the Stros. And then the drop-off happens. And the 2 biggest disappointments for my money this year, and I know maybe I probably should have the Braves up there. Is it still too early to pour dirt on the Braves? It just doesn't seem like it's
a little bit.
Yeah. But the 2 biggest disappointments right now for me are the Baltimore Orioles and the Texas Rangers, both American League teams that aren't delivering. So I'm not surprised that the Astros are as good as they are right now, but should we be looking at them as a World Series contender? Could this potentially be at least one team from tonight's matchup be representing the league in the Fall Classic?
Yeah, I mean, the Astros are a proven commodity. They have some guys from that era of going to World Series and winning a couple titles. It's not the same Astros team, right? We know that Bregman's gone. We know that Correa's gone. We know Springer's gone. Yeah. But Alvarez is incredible. Altuve's still there. Their pitching has held up despite the fact that they have quite a few injuries in that rotation. They're only going to get healthier. They still have a top heavy, albeit, but a strong end of the bullpen. If they can get some arms back and make some deals in the margins at the deadline, maybe not go after a splashy name, but I don't see why they wouldn't stay at the top. Seattle, for whatever reason, to me, a month ago, I felt like, man, it's finally their time. They're going to take over Houston. And 4 weeks later, I'm not feeling the same way. There's something about Seattle that they cannot, outside of Cal Raleigh, cannot seem to get the offense going no matter who they bring in there. So unless they trade for an impact bat, there's no reason to think that Houston's going to fall out of this division.
Well, tell you what, I know that we would all take a repeat of the 2022 season right here, right now, getting to a World Series. Now, nobody would co-sign or sign up for a 6-game series with a loss. Right. It's a tough pill to swallow. It would be great. You make the World Series. It's a hell of a run. Playoff baseball, nothing better. It's a dumb, interesting question at the same time. Would you sign up for that right now? I can't say yes. I can't say yes.
Well, I mean, if you're saying, am I signing up for a rematch and then we'll let the cards fall where they may, then yes, obviously that's the answer.
I'm in.
But if you're saying, I know that they're going to make it and I know they're going to lose in 6 games, I mean, how can you say that you're excited about that, right?
Well, that's
you don't
a great run, man. That was an awesome time in this city.
So what I'll say is,
that was everything.
If I don't know, even if it's preordained that they'll lose in 6, but I'm not aware of this, we're talking about this very random hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't play out the exact same way where you get no hit and you go up and you end up losing a couple in a row, I'm fine with that. If you give me hope, even if you lose 4 out of 6, but you're competitive the whole time and there's not this killer feeling after that one going back down to Houston and then they take care of you, even if you end up losing in 6, to me, that's a reminder. The big concern is that they've gone one level back, one round of the playoffs shorter each season. If they go back to the World Series, that's proving to everybody in the fan base look, we're serious. These last couple of years were flukes. Look, we're right back in the dance, and we're serious next season too. So I can't say that I wouldn't take that as long as you're not telling me in advance that they lose. Like if they leak the script, I'll take it. Don't even get my emotions up, right? You can have it, but
I
yeah,
forgot.
how can you say no?
I forgot they got no hit in that World Series.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. Was not fun.
That's a great sports trivia question for Houston people, right? Like if I did Houston Quizzo or something around Astros trivia, like name the 4 pitchers that threw a combined hitter in Game 4 of the 2022 World Series. Do you remember who started that game for the Astros?
I don't. I
Christian
feel like I
Javier.
should, but I've tried to push it out of my mind.
Yeah, Javier got the start. Then he handed it to Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, and Ryan Presley.
I knew Presley closed it out. That's all I knew, though. So
Yeah,
that's disappointing. It was disappointing in the moment for sure, and it did. I held out hope that it wouldn't suck the life out of them, but it seemed to. And how could you blame them? I mean, you go out there and get no hit on the biggest stage after. I think they had such an electric game the game before too, with a few home runs in front of the home crowd, and then to come out in front of your home crowd and get no hit the next night is like, oh man.
They were a tough team. Astros were good. It was uphill climb. We know that we felt like we were playing with house money there a little bit, but oh no, that was a pretty good matchup. Went 6 games, and Phillies ended up coming up just short. But hopefully this year will be a little bit different. Just to let everybody know, right now, currently, as we sit on DraftKings, Yankees to represent the AL plus 265, followed by the Tigers at plus 295. Then you got the Astros at plus 450. Then the Mariners all the way up to plus 950. Then they go Rays, Blue Jays, Guardians, Red Sox. Moving over to the National League. And I did make the case that there was a huge drop-off, but it's almost the same. It's very similar. Dodgers and Phillies. You got Dodgers at plus 150, Phillies at plus 425. Then the Mets at 5-1. Then the Cubbies at 8-1. Giants, Brewers, Padres, Diamondbacks. Really intriguing because when you look at that, it does give you somewhat similar vibes. Like, I don't necessarily believe right here on June the 24th, regardless that they've been on a 9-game losing streak, whatever it is right now for the Mets, I don't necessarily have believed that they are a World Series caliber baseball team. And they're at 5-1. So I wouldn't really give the edge to the National League when you look at it like that. For me, as I sit here right now, Yankees, Tigers, and Astros can absolutely get to the World Series. I don't think the Mets can. I think that pitching staff has just been pitching way above expectations, and eventually that's going to catch up. I know not necessarily it works out like that every time. They have great bats. They got some good leadership in Lindor, no doubt about it. Great fan base. I give them credit. Got a lot to prove or work off of what took place last year, but I'm against the Mets and taking them and representing the National League in the World Series. Obviously, Dodgers above all, but the Phillies are plus 425, and then I'd say it's pretty much a big drop off. So at least in the American League, long-winded Kyle, I would think that there's 3 teams that I could put in the World Series. In the National League, I'm probably looking at 2.
Yeah, there was something that I saw earlier on MLB Network. I think it was MLB Now. You talked about how good the Mets offense is, and I feel the same way on paper. When you look at the names at the top of that lineup, Lindor, Soto, who's it, Nimmo, and or either Nimmo or it's Nimmo right now. McNeil's been okay, and then Alonso batting fourth. They have an 857 OPS out of the top 4 hitters in their lineup, a 646 from the rest of the lineup. The 211 point difference is the largest drop off in Major League Baseball. So their top 4 is a hellscape to get through, and then it's easy breezing from there. Obviously it's not going to work that way every single game, but you're right. They're lacking in something on that offensive end that they're going to have to address at the deadline, and they also need to get healthy. You said their starting staff is pitching way above expectations. In my opinion, there's a few guys I cannot believe have been pitching as well. Griffin Canning, I couldn't believe how good that guy has pitched outside of like the last 2 starts coming into this weekend. And nobody expected that from him. Nobody expected Clay Holmes to turn into what he has a year removed from being a faltering closer in the other New York team. It's very surprising to me how well they've done. Right now is probably where you're going to see those numbers start to increase because they are beat up and they're going to have to plug and play some pieces until their stars in Senga and a few others finally get healthy. So yeah, I agree with you. The way that they're playing right now, and I'm not just looking at the 1-9, because when the Phillies were 1-9, I still felt comfortable saying that they would be in the mix. And the Mets, those top 4 can do a lot for you, but my assumption is that their pitching, unless they do something to address it and add a piece, is going to look very different in 2 months. And I would not put them in the mix guaranteed right now. I think that they're a piece or two away, but then again, who isn't really, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's ready to be a piece or two away in a couple weeks. So
damn right. And we're going to talk a little bit about some potential trade prospects, names that are out there, according to Jeff Pass and a couple people out there, as far as Major League Baseball insiders are now floating that list. Of course, we know that the trade deadline is July the 31st. So a little bit after the All-Star break, but no better time than right now to start discussing potential trade targets, no matter the squad out there. I would say this much for Mets fans or anybody out there. First of all, I do want to say that this is the number one play. So most of the time when everybody's on one side, it doesn't hit. We know how that works. But if you're looking at Frankie Montas, who's making his debut for the Mets tonight against the Braves, to be one of those guys to take a grasp of a spot in the rotation and start to be the difference for them, I wouldn't suggest that you do that, because in his minor league starts, 18.2 innings pitched, 25 earned runs, 30 hits, 8 home runs, 10 walks, 12 strikeouts. So that leads us to the number one play tonight on the board for a lot of people out there. They're looking at the over in that game. It's total coming in at 9. Of course, you can go team total for the Braves as well. He's probably going to be in a short lease, so I'd be very, very careful to wager on that. Nonetheless, Spencer Strider getting a start for the Braves. That should be a victory for the Braves, as they did win last night and now are 4-0 against the Mets this year. So they do have their number. All right.
Yeah, I thought that was when I saw his numbers in his rehab assignment, I was stunned too. So
yeah,
good pull from you. That's one I would stay away from. Or maybe you watch something else if you're a Mets fan tonight.
Yeah, watch the Phillies and the Astros. Phillies
there we go.
Their opponents 64-35 while winning 9 of their past 11. The Astros have Major League Baseball's best record in June, 14-6 in the month. So, of course, all eyes on that game coming up this evening. All right, Kyle Fisher joining us here, having some fun. We're going to mix in some other stuff. It's hot outside, Kyle. I don't know if you've been out there. If you haven't, you're a smart man. Stay inside. But we have 5 burning questions. We'll get into a little bit of that with you as well. Trade targets, though. Jeff Passan came out with his targets for the Phillies. I saw this on Luke Arcani's timeline. Got a ton of reaction. Everybody has something to say about these potential names. Again, I don't think that we're going to look at the trade deadline and Landon, let's just say Devers, right, that the San Francisco Giants got, or Cal Raleigh all of a sudden becomes available. I don't think it's going to be any name that a lot of people are going to be all too familiar with, but I still think that they're going to be active. We'll find out what Kyle has to say about all of that. Again, you can find Kyle on socials at KyleFisher45, and be sure to check out everything he contributes over at the Philly Sports Network. Keeping it going here on the Daily Ticket. Do not go anywhere. More after this.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
OKC wins in 7 over a demonic Pacer squad that everybody wanted to see pull off the upset on Sunday night, but it didn't happen. Sure, life got a little easier once Tyrese Halliburton went down with the injury, but let's be honest, even if he stayed in the game, OKC was not losing that Game 7. They had the better team, the deeper roster, and the best player on the floor. Simple as that. Now comes the chatter. Is one ring enough? Is this a superstar team compared to the last 6 different champions? Well, I understand it, because in today's NBA, one title isn't enough just to earn respect, but especially with some already claiming that this OKC squad doesn't stack up with the last 6 champions. What are you going to say if they repeat next year? That's the question. Oh, by the way, Oklahoma City opened up as the favorite to do so, plus 240 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it right here on The Gambler.
My station, baby.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Superstar performances, never before seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Tuesday drive home, and we've got a big backup on 95 northbound, Crowling, Allegheny, all the way up to Academy. Overturned vehicle crash there. It takes out the 2 right lanes south of 95. That's Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. The westbound Schuylkill Heavy University to Vine, City to Belmont, and Gladwood to Conshohocken. Eastbound delays Conshohocken to Belmont, and Montgomery Drive to south. Busy on the Vine Expressway both ways. Schuylkill to Broad, 42 south, jammed off the Walt Whitman down to Creek Road. Laura Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Amazon Prime Day.
Okay, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news, this year you'll have 4 days to find deals on all of your favorite things. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Well, check out Ice Cube's Big 3 all summer long. Fast, physical, and fun. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the baron of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the Lord of the Loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, Spruce, Spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at TopDogLaw.com. Once again, that's TopDogLaw.com.
You're listening to The Daily Ticket with Sean Briggs. On Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The action starts here.
Yes, indeed. Kyle Fisher hanging out. Hour number 2 here to Daily Tickets. Kyle, I got you past 5 or you got a hard out at 5 o'clock?
We can go a little past 5. That works.
Right, you did. Good. We I was a little late. I apologize. Mark Henry Jr.
That's
decided
okay.
to give me his top 10 movies of 2020 for the last 25 years. And like, he was so passionate about it. I could not stop him. Like, sir, go right ahead. And next thing you know, I'm looking at the clock going, oh, damn, that's the full segment right there. Kept it going, my fault. But I do want to entertain you with some of those questions to get your take. And again, the big reason why I decided to come up with this is because it's nasty out there. So I said 5 burning questions, dumb questions, radio style. You know how it works. And oh, by the way, going off of yesterday's show where Luke now has a guilty pleasure of this, what is it? Love Island, not Pleasure Island. Jesus Christ. I said behind the lines. When it was outside the lines, I'm losing my brain today.
The
yeah,
heat, it's getting to you. That's what it is.
The heat, exactly.
That's what we're going to blame it on, at least.
Love Island is the show that Luke had a guilty pleasure for. And then I saw with the Iron Pigs took a 6-hour bus ride to their next stop. And Garrett Stubbs tweets a picture out to their next game. 6-hour bus ride, AAA. Damn. The bus doesn't have AC. The boys are running around shirtless in the bus. Yo, they're AAA. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, minor leagues, man. It's like playing JUCO but grown up.
He said, he said what the saying is here is you don't like it, play better. Yeah, obviously get the show, but my goodness, yeah,
I like that line.
That's some eye-opening stuff there. 6-hour bus ride. Buses are terrible. That's a brutal way to get to where you need to go. Anyways, we'll keep it moving. So we'll have some fun with Kyle on that one. I do want to hit you with some quick ones here. First of all, football related, Tight End University. ESPN's broadcasting live from Tight End University. Are you familiar with Tight End, TEU as they call themselves?
No.
It's all the tight ends. George Kittle was the one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He's the one that created a few years ago. And Greg Olson as well had a big piece of it as well. And it was like a one-off. I think they did it in San Francisco. And they got a bunch of guys together. Travis Kelce gets involved. And now it's a huge deal to what it's growing into. That's pretty damn cool. I get it. It's the NFL. It controls all. But they literally have ESPN out there broadcasting. They got every tight end possibly in the country out there. Pretty cool stuff that they're doing.
Is it for kids coming out of college, or is it?
It's pros. It's the tight ends in the NFL all getting together because they don't
get a little mini training camp themselves.
Correct. Yeah,
I like that.
Oh, I love it.
Is,
and I love the fact
Taylor there getting real eyes on it?
We'll see. You got all the great ones there, that's for sure. So I don't know actually if Kelce is there. I believe he was, but I could be wrong on that. Anyways, he is there. He is there because I'm looking at a picture, so I apologize on that one. Some other odds and ends real quick if we could. Now, Kyle knows a thing or two when it comes to the sports complex. Serve Beer continues to serve beer and work down there. And I saw an article today where they were talking about beer prices around the country. And I texted you, I said, could you tell me where the $7 beer is located at Citizens Bank Park? Because for every time I go, it's $9+, buddy. Apparently there's a $7 beer out there at CBP, and I don't know about, what is it, Pabst Blue Ribbon on draft, that you get like a little Dixie cup of it? Is that the $7 beer out there?
No, so there is, and I forget if it's every game or specific games, but out on like the Miller Lite flight, it's not the flight deck, but that's the link, but they have like a big bar area at the one end where the Chickies and Pizza is on Ashburn Alley.
Yep.
So they open the left field or the center field and right field gates early and allow fans to go just on the alley. And typically they'll do discounted Miller Lights at that point. I forget the price, but if there's any beer that's in there for $7, it's like 3 hours before the game on Ashburn Alley, exclusively Miller Lite. So there's no $7 beer in that building. The cheapest beer I remember when I started there in 2010 was $7.25 for a Coors Light.
That's what it should be now.
I agree. I mean, who's Atlanta when they opened their new stadium? If you remember, the owner set a cap on pricing. So he was like, we'll start here. If we need to increase revenue to make renovations or whatever, we're going to up it a little bit. but there's a in the contract cap on how high the price could ever go. And that cap was reasonable, which means that the starting price when they first opened was even more reasonable. Every stadium should be doing that. It becomes impossible to take your family to a game at some of these buildings. It's especially for baseball. If you can't have a decent, reasonable price at a baseball game, which is known for a family environment, it's ridiculous. How expensive some of these things are nowadays.
Roaring round of applause for you, Kyle. Well said. No, and again, we're not trying to get you in trouble by no means, but bottom line is it's just so eye-opening. The next day you go home and you're like, wait a minute, really? Oh my goodness. And it happened to me on Friday. I went with my father-in-law, 2 brothers-in-law. Everybody bought a round. Everybody bought multiple rounds. Nobody complained. It's just the next day you're like, wait a minute, I spent that, and then on top of that, and then on top of that, oh, by the way, we were at Xfinity Live for 3 hours before the damn game started. Oh, my goodness. Next thing you know, it's like all the money I won on DraftKings, I already spent, for crying out loud. Anyways,
you needed that James Wood ticket to go through.
Exactly. I bring this up because I get these dumb emails, and this one's from Pennsylvania, based off of Pittsburgh Pirates and Philadelphia fans having to deal with some of the more expensive beer prices as far as baseball is concerned. And they make the case, look, Pittsburgh is even a little bit more pricey than Philly, which is funny. Again, not funny, but you understand what I'm saying there. And they put out they say that $9.16 is the 7th most expensive beer for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if a fan attends every home game and buys one cold one, it will set them back $741 at the end of the year. It's true. Think about that. One beer.
That's insane.
Yeah,
and also the Pirates.
Yeah.
The Pirates. You should be doing like 2-for-1 beer days or $3 beer Wednesdays to get people in that friggin' stadium.
That's right.
That is a gorgeous stadium. You've had great players come through over the years. When you are competitive, that place is rocking. And you're charging $10+ for a beer, probably $6.50 for a water. Get out of here.
$6.50 for a water, for crying out loud. They say the most expensive beer, Washington Nationals. There's no way this is true.
I've heard that they're very expensive. Yeah. I haven't worked down there, but a lot of vendors, they'll work at several stadiums and just make that their full-time job. So there's a lot of guys who work in Baltimore and Washington who will come up to Philly all the time. And they said that DC, they're like the percentage that you make on a beer as a vendor is lower, but the prices are so much higher that it balances out. So like when we first got to $10, I think they were around 15 already, which is crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. What are we doing here? Come on. And kids don't even drink anymore, so you should reward the people that are still buying the product. Damn it. Unbelievable. All right, I digress. One good one from the timeline, if we could. I did get this email as well. Clearing out my email. That's a pretty good segment right there, Kyle. Public practice for your Philadelphia Eagles has been announced. Join us on August 10th at 6:30 p.m. for the Eagles training camp public practice presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tickets now on sale for $10.25. The benefit to the Eagles Autism Foundation. Fans interested in attending must purchase tickets. Parking for practice is free. Thank you on that one. Again, everyone charges $1 these days. What are you going to do? But still, football season right around the corner, my friend. And I'm looking forward to covering it all again right here on The Gambler. All right, Kyle, let's go ahead and fire up what we were discussing before the break. And this one caught my attention again because we are inching closer, not towards football season. July 31st is the MLB trade deadline. So how active will the Phillies be? We don't know. We assume that they're going to go out there and make a move for somebody to, whether a bat in the outfield, I do believe that they could still potentially use some help in the bullpen. Bullpen has been okay as of late. That's great, but ebbs and flows. And of course, with the loss of Alvarado, so it won't surprise me if they get a bat and a glove or and a pitcher when it comes to trade deadline. Anyways, Passan put out a bunch of names. Is there anyone particular that caught your attention? He also put out Chapman, of course, the hard-throwing closer. Which it's always fun when he enters the ball game because you never know what you're going to get, I feel like. But, man, any of these names really catch your attention, Kyle?
Yeah, well, there's a few names that everybody's been putting out there. The top tier closers that are available: Duran from the Twins, Clase from Cleveland, if they're willing to trade him, even though he has 2 years left after this season. Bautista and Mullins is a very common combo that you see thrown out there. So those names are common, and while I think they would all be good additions to the Phillies, the guy that stood out the most to me is someone I hadn't really thought about, was Adolis Garcia from the Texas Rangers. Guy's having a little bit of a down year from what you might expect of him, but a lot of his advanced metrics point to more him being unlucky than anything else. And if you bring him in here with Kevin Long, there's a chance that maybe they could make some adjustments with him. The guy's got a lot of pop. He plays a strong outfield. He can play center. He's probably better suited in the corner. So if you can put him in left and then have Kepler or Marsh or Rojas platoon in some way in center, have stellar defense and ride their ebbs and flows, and let Garcia do what he does. Just taking a look, he strikes out a lot, but the entire team's strikeout rate is down across the board. Just looking at 2 seasons ago, he had 39 homers with 29 doubles. Last season, 27 homers, 25 doubles. He's been 25 to 35 homers almost every season of his full-time playing career. So although a little slow right now, he'd be a guy that would be very interesting because plus arm, plus glove, has pop. If you might not put him in the top 3 in the order, but if he's back there protecting Castellanos and Harper and Schwarber, that would be a great addition to me. So he's the guy, even though he's ranked lower on the list from Passan, I think that he would be a great grab and wouldn't cost you nearly as much as some of these other guys.
Oh, by the way, postseason success back in 2023 when he hit 5 bombs in the ALCS against Houston's, went yard in the World Series as well. Yeah, he is a bomber. Love to see him. And you bring him in and you start putting him in front of these fans and he delivers. Woo!
He's a guy who's got some swagger to him, for sure. He's very reminiscent of, remember when Randy Arozarena broke out for Tampa Bay? And I know he's been traded to Seattle since, but his breakout was in the postseason, and everybody kind of thought, like, man, just the energy that this guy has. He lives for the bright lights, and that reminds me a lot of what Garcia did in that World Series run for Texas. So he's a guy that stood out to me. That not that the other names aren't better on paper or that they might fit a need better, especially with how many closers are listed there. But from my perspective, my money, Garcia is the guy who stood out because he's not a guy that a lot of people have mentioned, but he fits a very specific need. They need power. They need help in the outfield, and he brings both of that in spades.
Yeah, I love it. Luke just simplified it and threw some names out there. Of course, he linked the article, so go read it. But bottom line is when you start to see those names, you're like, all right, there's potential for some names that will register with maybe an average day baseball fan. Of course, people like us that pay attention to this daily, weekly, yearly, so on and so forth. Yeah, these are names that are definitely guys that come in and contribute and definitely help you out, but get the juices going. Let's put it that way. So super excited to see what's going to happen there. Again, a lot of teams potentially in the running. You always got to watch out for those teams that are somewhat in the surprise spot, and it's like, okay, you're here now, you got to go for it. So it might be overpaying for some of those players with some names. That won't be too much of a surprise. I don't expect Dombrowski to empty the wallet by no means, but if the price is right and some of those big name players are available, I would fully expect 1 or 2 to be moved here in Philly. Again, I hate to say it like this, but you see what the Dodgers are. That's where it is. That's the bar. The bar has been set. And I know it's baseball and it's a different sport. And, you can go out there with a bunch of average players and beat that. No, man, the Dodgers are damn good. They are so good. And you better have some great bats. You better have everybody in tune, some power numbers hitting, and, of course, some great pitching to beat them in a 7-game series. Hopefully the Phillies will get an opportunity to do so. All right. Anything else as far as the trade deadline catching your attention before we move off of that?
No, the thing that I found interesting, at least about Passan's article, is how many Red Sox he had listed there. I know that they are 500, but I feel like they're going to be a team that wants to make noise to kind of win back the fan base after the Devers fiasco. So I wouldn't be surprised. He lists Duran on there. I'd be stunned if they traded him, even though they have a surplus of outfielders. He lists Bregman, although the percentages of them moving him is very low, and I would agree with that. But he's mostly on there because he would make a huge impact to whoever acquired him rather. Yeah, I mean, just how many Red Sox are on there? I think they're going to go the other way. I think they're going to make one of these moves. Maybe they trade the 2 expiring relievers that they have to retool a little bit, but I don't think they're going to trade anybody who's going to make an impact for them next season. So if you're going to read the Passion article, definitely go follow Luke and check that out. He linked to it already, but I would say that the Red Sox, I wouldn't point at them thinking that they're going to empty the roster out at the deadline.
No, not at all. Kyle Fisher 45 on socials. Couple quick ones for you out of here, Kyle. Aaron Rodgers, the big story of the day, essentially from the Pat McAfee show, said that 2025 will most likely be his final season in the NFL. I don't think anybody's surprised, but the only thing that hit me was, why come back? Why come back and play for the Steelers? Why?
Wants to end on better terms, right? I mean, not a good season at all last year. Had the injury the year before. Wants to end it on his terms, so he comes back, puts all he has left into it, has a decent showing before riding off. These guys are very prideful, so he wants to end it his way, not be told that it's time to walk away.
Especially Rodgers, who ended up giving a wonderful gem of a comment. And normally we get this sound that is updated, but it's not in there just yet. So I apologize on that. But I'll give you the quote. And Rodgers said, quote, "I don't want the attention. When I'm done playing, you won't see me." Kyle Fisher, this is a gambling show. And I don't know if you want to take this wager, but I am willing to bet anybody that we will see Aaron Rodgers when he is done playing. So much so that I could see Rodgers doing a podcast like 3/4 of America. I could see Rodgers being involved somewhat with McAfee. I could see Rodgers being involved with something like Amazon. The number that will be fetched his way will be through the roof, and it's an easy paycheck. Aaron Rodgers, you could sit there and say whatever you want there, bud. You ain't going nowhere. So less is more at this point in time. I know he's got the biggest ego possible, and he's a hell of a player, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champ, one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. But, man, like that's the stuff that bothers me. Like, if you have an opinion on the big story of the day in the political world, or, you have your take on vaccines, whether it's incorrect or not. I didn't like the fact that he came out there and what did he say? I was immunized, right? When, somewhat lied. I didn't like that. That was odd, especially in that time. But, like, none of that really hit me and bothers me. You know what bothers me is when he says something stupid like this. You're not going anywhere, bro. You love the attention. You love when people talk about you, and that's why you're back playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers for an offense that's probably going to be even worse than what you were last year with the New York Jets.
Yeah, I don't want the attention is a hilarious statement coming. I didn't know that he was starting his foray into comedy. What a ridiculous statement from that guy of all people. But I do think that he's the type of guy who you won't see go into the booth. I don't think he's going to be a Tony Romo or a Tom Brady. No. I think you're going to still see him doing sparingly what he's kind of doing now. He's boys with McAfee. He'll show up there, especially if he keeps getting that stipend. He'll show up there. If somebody wants to pay him to do like an occasional Zoom during their Sunday coverage, maybe not every week, but I'm sure that he'll take a pretty penny to sit in the comfort of his own home, talk about his drug use, and talk about why the quarterback play isn't as good as it was in his day, just like every quarterback does, right?
Yeah. Wait,
it's going to be more like Favre minus the crime.
Okay. Oh, nice work on that one. You don't see potentially, again, we know what the numbers are, right? Who's got more money than Netflix? Who's got more money than Amazon with Bezos? Maybe Netflix isn't the right one, but they do have money as well.
Yeah.
And they're going into the world of sports. You don't see Rodgers as potentially a who the hell's the guy? Not Whitworth. Who's the quarterback? Fitzpatrick. You don't see him in that role. You don't see Rodgers taking on like a Thursday night football pregame show role.
I think he would do it remotely. I don't think he's going to be a guy who wants to go out to the studio and have to listen to them get him set and dress the way they want him to dress and say and be careful about the things he wants to say. He wants to come in for a 30-second segment, a 5-minute segment remotely, just like showing a square of his head like mine right here, and just, spew off at the mouth, not have to worry about people telling him where to be when. He can do it at his own speed and still make a pretty penny while doing it.
He made $13.65 million this year to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's to take a hit. That's to compete against guys like Myles Garrett. That's to get beat up by all defenses because he's a lack of offensive line for the Steelers. Yeah, the number that he would fetch from Amazon or Netflix, I mean, we're talking just crazy amounts compared to that number.
He might make $10 million just to click a Zoom link next year.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
too. You're right. The world is his oyster. It's Aaron Rodgers. Again, I don't care. Like he wants to come off as a victim. A lot of people do that. And that's fine if that's what he wants to do. You know, these people that often yelled about snowflakes. Remember that was the saying like 5-8 years ago. Oh, you're such a snowflake. No, those people are
They're
now
usually the biggest snowflakes.
now they're the snowflakes, right? So it's
the
like
most sensitive
madness.
dudes I know think that everybody else are sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. So like Rodgers saying, "Oh, you're never going to see me." I'll take that action, Rodgers. I'm gonna tweet him. Let me see if he's on Twitter and tweet him. See if I can bet him. All right, we'll keep it moving. Good stuff, Kyle. Having some fun here. We'll get you out of here on this one. What do you say? I did have some fun with Mark Henry Jr. I'm not sure if you caught those questions earlier,
I
but
didn't see
right
them,
here.
so.
All right, good. So right here, right now, we're looking at what? We're over triple digits right now. I got my car was 103.
It feels like is, yeah, for sure.
You know how it is. It's the dashboard, temperature that everybody takes a picture of, and you're like, whoa, dude, what is going on right now? It is really, really hot. Anyway, so with that being said, I did put out 5 questions, 5 hot questions for Kyle Fisher right here. So with that, let's go ahead and say question number 1, 5 burning questions. Sorry, I was stalling. I was trying to find the email. Couldn't find my questions. 5 burning questions. Smooth operator here. Number 1 on the board. What is the worst sports take you've heard this month, Kyle Fisher?
I don't know. There's a local radio station that tried to justify to me that the Super Bowl winning quarterback isn't elite, isn't good, should leave him out of the top 11, isn't one of the best players to play currently in the city. Not even talking all time, but currently in the city. Slow news for people who don't want to talk about the other sports. So, yeah, that's the worst take that I've heard. Maybe second is the Rodgers take that you just said.
Yeah. You got a new leader in the clubhouse. No, that's a good one. Nice work by you on that one. Question number 2, 5 burning questions on this hot Tuesday. One athlete, coach, or sports media personality you would not want to be trapped in a bus with for 6 hours with no air conditioning.
Oh, that is
one athlete, coach, or sports media personality.
Athlete, coach, sports media personality. Nick Wright.
Oh, Nick Wright.
Every time I see that guy's face, I feel like this burning sensation inside. Not that he's not awful. I know what he's doing. He's really good at what he does. Let me give credit where credit's due. The guy is really good. He's made adjustments to blow up to how he has. I like some of the things that he does to drum up viewership. But he's so good at it that it bothers me. And therefore I would get hot just sitting next to him. So AC, that guy wants to talk and just blow hot air in my ear. I don't know if I can handle it.
He's about as opinionated as it gets, and he's never wrong. Yeah, he's one of those. All right, number 3, you have to create a new Olympic sport from summer activities. Where are you going? What are you doing? Mark Henry Jr. said gambling. I was like, yeah, I could see it. Let's do it.
Is spike ball an Olympic sport yet?
Spike ball.
Because if not that, I think it's
Are
a
you-
collegiate sport now.
Are you good at it?
I was good when I first saw it. I was okay. I shouldn't say good. I was good compared to the people I was playing with. But my knees just don't work the same way anymore, man. So not my sport, but a fun sport to watch.
Mine's bucket golf. I'm gonna give that answer right there.
okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
My buddy Colin ended up getting bucket golf, and we were just having a blast the other day. It's pretty fun. All right, question number 4. What's your guilty go-to pleasure show or movie? Luke Arcani had Love Island on his mind yesterday. Do you have one that you have a go-to?
I don't know if you would consider this, but professional wrestling. I cannot get enough of professional wrestling, even as an adult. There was a long time where I fell off of it. A long time where I fell off of it. And then when my son was around 6 years old, I introduced him to it, got back in. He has since fallen back off, and I can't stop watching. So my guilty pleasure is sometimes I will ignore non-major sporting events to watch professional wrestling instead. So that's my
How about that? That's a good one. All right, Kyle, knocking them out of the park. Final question, number 5. Who you bringing to a barbecue? A current athlete in Philadelphia.
Jason Kelsey. Oh, current athlete.
Oh,
no,
well,
current
you know what?
athlete.
We'll allow it. Jason
If we're going
Kelsey.
current, Brandon Marsh, because he looks like just the same level of partier as Jason Kelsey. Maybe he can't swing him back as much as Jason can, but I think both of them would be a really good time. Roll with the punches and do whatever the party allowed. So can't go wrong with either one of those guys.
Great answers, Kyle. Fantastic job as always. Great to get you on here to mix it up. Of course, we got ourselves a big one tonight going down in Houston. That's front and center for everybody here in Philadelphia. Tomorrow, the NBA draft. You're not a big NBA guy. You're not a big NBA draft guy, correct?
I'll pay attention. We have a crew covering it pretty closely over at Philly Sports Network. I'll be tuned into their draft reaction show the next day for sure. But we have a staunch crew over there doing a lot of prep work this week. Who've been, if you check out PhillySportsNetwork.com, they have a nice little prediction piece that they just put out, getting you ready. So I would, I'll be paying attention closely. Probably won't be watching the draft live though.
Yeah, look, it's 2 nights. There's no need for a second night. Come on.
I'm big on show me the picks at the end of the day because I don't watch a lot of college. So like, you could tell me that the Lord himself was drafted, and I'd be like, just show me the scouting report. I'm fine.
And then we get to rank them too. Put a report card out there on the players that we've watched maybe 3 minutes on all season.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we do. That's what we do. We got to love it. All right. What are you working over there on the Philly Sports Network? What's your next piece coming up?
So I finally actually started doing the research on that 2 targets from one team trade piece that I've been teasing the last couple of weeks. A fun one that I just did, although they just played the Mets, I did a nice little look back at the rivalry of the Mets, both recent history, some major moments between the Phillies and Mets all time, and some big name players who played for both franchises. So that's a little bit of an older piece. And then that trade piece will be out this week. And then I have my live stream on Tuesdays, Alley Talk, over on Philly Sports Network's YouTube, talking all Phillies. So
that's what I'm talking about, Kyle. Staying busy. Yeah, first, that's a good one. First player that comes to my mind that played for both is easy. It's Lenny Dykstra.
Okay. Obviously he made the list.
That's easy.
Bobby Abreu's a big one.
Ooh, that's actually not easy. That is a good
he only played
pull.
1 year with the Mets.
That's a good pull. And then now, as I'm thinking about it, of course, he should be top dog front and center, Zach Wheeler.
Of course, Zach Wheeler. Billy Wagner's a big one. And here's one that I didn't realize until I looked it up, and I should have known this. Will surprise a lot of people. Richie Ashburn.
Richie Ashburn played for the Mets.
His last season in Major League Baseball was with the New York Mets.
Wow. I definitely did not know that. That's cool.
I didn't know that one either. The other guys I knew, but didn't know that one.
Fantastic job, Kyle. Always a pleasure, man. Great stuff as usual. Can't thank you enough for popping up on here, especially weekly with us. We lock them in. Sends me a schedule, and I look forward to this hit every single time. We went a little extended run here, so I appreciate that as well. We'll catch up later this week, man, and continue to read you and follow you on socials. Kyle Fisher 45. Always a pleasure, sir.
Appreciate you, man. Talk to you soon.
My man, there he is. Kyle Fisher on the Gambler Stream. All right, we're keeping it moving here. 5 o'clock hour is here. And like I said earlier today, Mark Henry Jr. was on the program. We talked a lot about the NBA draft. And this is the big story for a lot of people right now, dialed in what's taking place tomorrow night. It's 2 days, of course, but the 76ers currently have the overall 3 pick, the 3rd pick right now in the NBA draft. And it seems like there is potential that the 76ers could trade out of the 3 spot. Now, I get it. It depends what you end up with. It depends, whether you get those assets and the player that somewhat isn't all that bad. Maybe you weren't sold on somebody at 3. I don't like the way that sounds. Again, I'm a very simple man. Off of what happened last season, the disaster that it was, and the reward at the end of the year, because you were so bad, you get the 3rd overall pick. And now there's nobody that's really making you like them to the point that you want to draft them at 3 overall. Yeah, I do not like the way that sounds at all. Not saying that that's how it's going to play out, but I'm wondering if Daryl Morey is going to continue to look at all these players as assets and And as Mark Henry Jr. has pointed out, that make them sound like they're all decimal points and this, that, and that. Mark made the case on why Daryl Morey needs to select a player at 3 overall and not trade out of that spot. Find out if you agree on the other side. It's the Daily Ticket. I'll be back tomorrow. Brand new one coming your way on a Wednesday. Julian Edlow from DraftKings. We're bumping him up because of the NBA draft. And we'll be talking all things Phillies. Tonight's game 1 against the Houston Astros. Yeah, look, we talked a little bit about that with Kyle Fisher from the perspective of wagering tonight. It would be interesting. Now, I have not had an opportunity to pull up the lineup. It's 5:14. I think that will be out there right now for an 8:10 first pitch, so I apologize. But you would definitely have to look at a guy like Schwarber again. It's going to be tough against Valdez, understood, but he's been swinging a hot bat, so he's definitely somebody that I want to look at there. Also, the other player that we were pulling up that I'm trying to find the numbers on right now is Sosa. Sosa should be in that position for Stott because it is Valdez with the lefty. Sosa is a guy that you want to probably look at, getting some great value there. Swung a great bat against the Mets there. So hopefully that continues down in Houston. So I'm all on Sosa's plays, total bases, and maybe a little sprinkle at plus 850. It takes that big bat down to H-Town and gets one. Why not? Let's have some fun. Let's roll the dice a little bit here. And credit to anybody that took James Wood last night. We talked a little about that. It's from the perspective of what happened with FanDuel, and now they changed the rules to everybody cashing in on the Nationals. James Wood going yard in the 8th inning. So a lot coming your way on the other side. Don't touch that dial. Keep it locked right here to the Gambler.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling.